Hey guys, it's Sid here from SVTPerformance.com, but I'm coming to you today for lethalperformance.com. Jared and Christy and the crew over there reached out to me and wanted me to give you my take on the new GT500 that was just released today in Detroit at the 2019 North American International Auto Show. Now the lighting's not great over there, so we're going to do this sort of guerrilla style. I'm going to pick up the camera and I'm going to walk you through the transmission and engine displays that they have and just give you my perspective as a Lethal Performance customer myself, the kind of upgrades that I would look to do to this car. So let's go guerrilla style here, get my camera off the tripod, and let's go take a look at what we've got. So you see we've got brand new 2020 Shelby GT500 in an intermodal shipping container, and of course the timeline of the GT500 name. But this is the piece de resistance, the 5.2 liter cross-plane crank TVS supercharged V8. So this is obviously a Coyote based engine. It's got a 2650 Eaton TVS supercharger. See the pulley here, it looks like it's probably in the 3-inch range. Like I said, the lighting's not great here, so you're gonna have to work with me a little bit. Maybe Ford will turn some on sooner or later, but Ford is keeping with the tradition of having the supercharger drive belt on the inside of the accessory drive. So it looks like we got a nice wide belt on the inside, and then your alternator and water pump belt will run on the outside, which makes changing pulleys and things like that a little bit more difficult. But this balancer is a freaking beast. This thing looks really expensive. You can see it's multiple pieces welded together, and everything is on one pulley or one balancer system. Other things that we're getting new. Looks like we have cast aluminum valve covers. Actually, this might be plastic. It's hard to tell. It doesn't really ting. But anyways, we got silver valve covers. Now whether this makes it to production, I'm not sure. But one thing I do know that you guys should be very happy about is the exhaust manifolds. Gone are the days of the Manicat. So we do not have a catalytic converter integrated into the exhaust manifolds any longer. Here we got the back side of the supercharger. We can see the intercooler cores are on top and the supercharger is buried down in the valley. This engine is just going to have port fuel injection. We don't have a DI system on this. So what does that mean? That means that Jared and the crew are probably going to have a Gen 5 now, 3-liter Whipple supercharger sitting in the warehouse waiting to go on their GT500 when it comes in. My guess is you'll be able to, if the transmission, which is over here and we're going to go through that in a minute, can hold the power, my guess is you'll be able to bolt on that 3-liter Whipple and you're going to see 1,000 horsepower to the wheels with not a whole lot of work to it. We're told that this thing has forged connecting rods from the factory. Now Ford has played fast and loose with the term forged connecting rods before. They refer to their powdered metal rods as forged because they are technically powder forged. But I am told these are actual drop forged connecting rods. Now I don't expect them to be Manley I-beams like we had in the Terminator, but they are said to be much stronger than the GT350 rods, And we've seen Jared and the crew put down ridiculous numbers with their GT350. We've got the GT350 style oil filter again. And you can see this is where the oil cooler lines would come out. We're going to have a unique water pump on this engine because the pulley has to set off a little bit further, so there's a longer neck on the water pump. We've got a cast aluminum oil pan, so no plastic oil pan, and thankfully there's an actual drain plug on this thing. So no more plastic drain plug to deal with. It looks like header changes are going to be basically the same as they would on any Coyote-based S550 Mustang. So I expect that you'll be able to pick up a set of Cooks or American Racing headers and pick up quite a bit of power. I mean, you guys know when you have a boosted Coyote how much there is to be gained just in the exhaust system. So I expect that to be a very popular mod. And I know Jared and the crew will have that stuff ready to go. So this is the big news. No longer is there a clutch pedal in the GT500 Mustang. We're only going to have one transmission. It's going to be the 7-speed Tremec DTC. So some of you guys might not be super familiar with what a DTC is. It is essentially a manual transmission on the inside that shifts for itself. So it's basically an automated manual. You get all the performance advantages of a manual transmission, but with the electronic control sophistication and the insanely fast shifting of an automatic. So this thing can shift gears in as little as 100 milliseconds. I don't care who you are, you're not going to outshift this transmission. That's what leads this thing to be so fast. Now, if you've been on SVTP today, you saw that we posted, we have a little bit of insider information about the actual quarter-mile times the test engineers have been running in this thing. So they were a little coy in their press release, but go over to SVTP, check out the ETs. I will let you know this. They've seen as high as 133 mile an hour trap speed so far. It's quick. And we see it's got a very nice input shaft. No more 10 spline crap. Good heavy duty from the factory. You can see nice roller bearings in here. This thing looks like it's tough enough to take quite a bit of power. And it does have a plastic oil pan on it with, it's tough to see here, but it's a big round plug. You got another plug in here. So this thing has some fairly sophisticated tuning going on in it. Speaking of tuning, that's where the real power is going to lie on this car. So I don't expect, no, I'm no tuning expert, but I do not expect that the actual base engine tuning will be all that extravagant really on these cars. It's basically a supercharged Coyote with port fuel injector. You don't even have to worry about the DI tables on this. So I would imagine all the tuners that go to Lethal Performance in the tuning shop will have stuff for this almost instantaneously. But this might be where the trick is. You guys are going to have to figure out how to make this transmission work. That being said, it can't be any worse than a 10R80 because that thing has so many different variables in it to set up that this one can't really be any worse. Maybe it is, I don't know, but it will definitely be a new challenge for the guys over at like Palm Beach Dyno and Lund. And you know Lund is already working on this. So the next question is going to be, what tuning do you want to go with? SCT, HP tuners? You know, my choice, I'm an HP tuners fan. Their stuff is just fantastic. And of course, Lethal Performance has all that for you. So, my predictions. Jared and the crew will probably bolt a Whipple on this thing and make 1,000 horsepower on the first day they have it in the shop. They'll probably go out and run a few quarter-mile times just to see what they can get out of it, and then you know what they're going to do. They're going to make a ridiculous amount of power. Because it's Lethal Performance, that's what they do. They want to be the first to be the fastest. And it's kind of tough to see, but check out those brakes. They are enormous. Biggest brakes ever fitted to a Mustang, 6-piston front, 4-piston rear. They necessitated the use of a 20-inch wheel. You cannot get anything smaller than a 20 on the front of this car. And it comes with 20s in the back. And the rear brakes are also massive. So we got, again, 4 piston Brimbos in the back. In the corner here, right there, you can see you got your parking brakes separate from your regular brake caliper. So for you guys who really want to go fast in this thing and do some insanely quick quarter-mile times, you're going to want to get with Lethal and Sean at AED and check out that new billet knuckle they have for the S550 rear suspension that will allow you to run a 15-inch tire on the back of this car. Now, that's going to necessitate changing the brakes and a few other things, but this car with a proper set of 15-inch slicks should be an absolute monster on the drag strip. So now that we've seen one of the more base level GT500s, let's continue on our guerrilla style adventures and try to get up on stage with the carbon track pack GT500. We're going to have to be kind of rude and get in front of other people videoing, but they'll live. So here we go. You can see we got the exposed carbon fiber wheels, massive carbon fiber wing, carbon fiber styling on the side splitters and the rear. It's not actual carbon fiber, but it is textured to give it that feeling, that look actually. Big Cobra badge on the rear, which I think looks good. And look at that wing. It just looks fantastically good. And here's a better look at the 20-inch carbon fiber wheels. As you can see, there's essentially no room between that brake caliper and the wheel. They really tuck those things in there. That's why you're not going to get anything smaller than a 20 on this. I know some of you will be happy to see that there does appear to be a tow hook on the front of this thing. So for you guys pulling track duty, that should be nice to have an integrated front tow hook. And of course there's the front end that is a bit controversial. A lot of people don't like the black and the forward facing, or centered I should say, snake. A lot of people would rather it be off to one side or the other. Personally, I think it looks good. We sort of did our 2015 Mustang project car GT on SVTP in the same manner with the blacked out front bar. So I like it, but I know it's controversial. But one of the things I really love about this is the hood and the hood pins. Those are neat. But one fantastic option that's on these cars now, stripes can become, the stripes can come painted. So painted on stripes instead of vinyl. It's just a much classier way to do things.
We have fun with it.
Again, like I said, we're shooting this guerrilla style. Give you guys an impression of the interior styling. You see we've got unique door panels and that carbon fiber applique on the dash, which looks really great. This is going to be something that's going to take some getting used to, is the rotary knob for shifting gears and the absence of a clutch pedal. I know some of us are going to miss that, but at least we can still change gears with our flappy paddles. The seats are fantastic looking, super supportive. If they're anything like the GT350 seats, I'm sure they'll be great. And I like this included little styling touch on the center console. That is a really nice touch. Other than that, we're basically looking at standard S550 fare with the sort of GT350 style steering wheel that everybody's become accustomed to. Of course, we have a lot of new technology in the dash and everything. So what's my takeaway on this car? My takeaway is it's been a long time since 2014, and this car is long overdue, but I have a feeling that it's going to deliver everything that we hope for out of a new GT500 from Ford Performance. Now, as for the suspension, it's supposed to have a very similar Magna suspension as the GT350, so we know it's going to handle great. In fact, Ford says this is basically the mostiest Mustang they've ever made. It has the most power, the most handling, the most grip, the fastest shifts. It's basically the Uber Mustang. It's the thing we've been waiting for, the best of the best. This is it. So we're in middle January right now, so it's going to be a long wait until fall for these cars to actually start hitting the dealer showroom floors and you can drive them off the lot. So in the meantime, you should probably think about upgrading the car you already have. Maybe you need that Whipple blower, some headers, maybe some tuning from the tune shop. So get a hold of Lethal Performance. Ask them what they have planned for their GT500, because I know it's going to be insane. Like I said, you just absolutely know they're going to put a 3-liter Whipple on the thing, first thing, and make 1,000 horsepower. It's just what Jared does. He'll probably come up with some weird name and do some oddball videos about the car. He's probably going to come up with some oddball name like Silver Toe or Tiddlywinks to name the car, and then he'll do some weird videos where he dances around to Walmart yodeling or something like that to introduce it. But at the end of the day, it's going to make ridiculous power. It's going to be insanely fun to drive, and there's not going to be a pony car out there that can touch this thing's performance on the track. So that's basically the rundown on the new GT500 from the North American International Auto Show here in Detroit. If you guys want to learn more about the car, we have a ton of info up and a lot of speculation about some of the upgrades and things you'll see on it on SVTPerformance.com. So go over there and check that out. But if you want to talk to somebody about making some real power on this car when it comes out, give Lethal Performance a call. I know Jared and crew are just waiting to get their hands on one. And what they learn from their car, they're going to pass that knowledge on to you and the deals and savings on the parts that make it go fast. So until next time, this is Sid from SVTPerformance.com signing off from lovely Detroit in January. It's cold.